Just finding out what annoying repetitive noise I can make this week.
Yeah, just something that's, Greg likes to do that, clear his throat. Liam's a tapper. I feel like I just miss-say my words.
Tapper, but I didn't bring noisy shoes.
Well, we'll just tap you, hey? Guys, we have Courtney here with us today.
I'm Liam, I've just removed
Liam with no beard and
3 times CrossFit Games athlete Courtney Haley.
No big deal.
We thought we'd do a little Q&A with you, Courtney. So, I mean, as everybody knows, you've been to the games multiple times. I think, that experience is it's a very rare experience that, you get to be kind of a part of, like, especially, for a lot of people in the gym, it seems very foreign. So we thought we'd get, like, a bit of insight on your experience, because you've been 3 times.
Yeah, what was the first year you went?
So 2015 as a team, and then 2018 and 19 as individuals.
Yeah. And when you went as a team versus when you went as an individual, how was that experience different?
Yeah, so 2015 as a team was within my first year of CrossFit. Yeah, so...
First year of CrossFit at the games, guys.
Not bloody bad.
My 1 year anniversary of CrossFit, I think, was at the games.
Yeah.
So obviously I was pretty fresh to it.
Yeah.
Surely it would have been more fun in a team for your first time.
Yeah.
Have some support.
Did you like understand the magnitude of like?
I think I definitely understood that it was the big event for the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because I remember, obviously it being the 1 year when I'd started CrossFit was right around the 2014 games time, and everyone in the gym was talking about what's going on, and it was when Cara had just pulled out.
Because of her jaw, yeah.
So that was, all anyone was talking about in the gym. So, straight up day one, found out what the CrossFit Games was. But yeah, definitely the team environment is really fun. It's more laid back. Even the competitors are, a bit more open to chatting and everything. Whereas individual, everyone's in their zone and they're so focused, and you don't really go and make a whole bunch of friends during games week competing, because everyone's got their plan that they're following, everyone is stressed out.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you go to a local comp, or remember back in the day when it was like there was a lot of individual comps, and there wasn't a lot of like conversing and there wasn't a lot of talking until maybe like towards the back end. Whereas you go to comps now and they're all like pairs and teams.
Yeah.
It's just like so much fun and energy, and there's less stress on you, and you don't worry as much.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same at the games, but on a bigger level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, we definitely didn't expect to qualify for the games as a team. I think we were moderately surprised to make regionals and then extremely surprised to qualify for the games.
Had you guys done much preparation?
I don't know, Brent Paxton is a bit of a stallion. He pretty much carried the whole team.
We definitely did a lot of preparation after qualifying.
Yeah.
Between regionals and the games.
Yeah.
We hadn't, so it was, qualification for regionals was based off your individual scores in the open.
Yeah.
So there was no you have to do team training to qualify.
Yeah.
We did do definitely also prep for regionals.
Yeah.
We took that fairly seriously. Got shirts made up and everything.
Very official. Got to have the shirt, otherwise it doesn't count.
Yeah. And then, obviously travelled down as a team and everything for regionals. Had our, working pairs worked out for all the different workouts and stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely prep that went into it.
Yeah.
But at that stage, pretty much everyone on that team would have just been doing the class workout, which very closely followed CrossFit.com's main site.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then you obviously went to the games as a team. How did you guys go when you got there?
I think we came 30th.
Out of
40.
Yeah.
Which is not bad for not expecting to be there at various stages along the course.
Hey, that's a C-. That's
Mate,
a pass.
That's pretty darn good if you ask me.
That's perfectly acceptable for people who pretty much just rocked up there to have as much fun as possible.
Yeah.
Were you what other Australian teams was there? Was it Schwartz?
Oh, who qualified that year?
But you don't remember if you were like...
Was it only 3 at that point?
Third at region. No, sorry. Yeah. Third at regionals. I think it was 3.
It was the top 3 at that point. Because it wasn't there a point where was it at
There
5
was a point that there
individuals?
were 5,
Yeah.
2015, was that the year that the famous sled pull handstand push-up one with Josh Bridges and
No, I think that would have been 2014 or earlier, yeah.
I never watched any team stuff, no offense. It was such a mess.
It was the first Murph year, I believe.
Oh, that was that the Murph that Cara did and she looked drunk
Yeah.
on the finish line? Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
Murph? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I remember watching that happen in real life.
Oh, okay.
You're like, I have a vivid memory of being there for that.
Pretty sure that's a real memory, not watching it on a screen.
Okay.
But yeah, watching was it 6 people in the team?
Oh, it was,
Yeah.
oh, it was 6
like,
back then. That's
watching
right.
6 people on the team, it's like on TV or on your little computer that you're watching it. It's just like, oh, I just can't follow.
Yeah, it was definitely a little confusing, and it turned into a lot of partner things. So they'd break the teams into 2 people going at a time, or into just the girls or just the boys. There was definitely a lot less, whole team synchro or the various things you can do with the fours.
I wonder if they'd ever go to pairs.
I don't know.
Like, is teams such a big thing now that it's like they're making money from it, or they're still experimenting?
I don't feel like pairs gives you much that you can't do in a team competition because they do so much pairs anyway.
Yeah, like it's already it's basically
Basically pairs.
basically pairs, but
With occasional worm.
yeah, and 4 people do it.
Well, 6 to 4 was the best thing ever.
Yeah, I think that was a good adjustment. The guys that you went on the team with, who were they? Who was on your team?
So the guys were Matt McKenzie,
Yeah.
Brent Paxton, and Tristan Lee.
Yeah.
And then the girls, we had Beck and Kate. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And have they continued on like you have?
So obviously Kate's still crossfitting.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
competed at Torian this year.
Yeah, she did. As an individual?
Yeah,
No.
as an
No.
Team.
Team. She did go as team.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yes. She was team.
Frankston.
And then they almost qualified.
I think they were 1 spot out,
They were
right?
Just 1 spot out from qualifying as a team. And of the guys, I don't think any are actively competing.
But they still participate.
But doing CrossFit.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So 2015 was first games as a team. When was first individual?
2018.
And
2 years
of
in
training.
between.
And was there a point where you were like, I'm going to go individual?
Yeah. So pretty much after 2015, we got back, and I think some people moved around gyms and things, or some people got injured, and we weren't going to have a team for the next year. So it's like, okay, well, I'll knuckle down and start doing more than the class workout. I'll start doing some extra work and see if I can, get a little bit fitter. I don't think I did much. I think we were doing there was always the Wednesday night barbell club sort of extra session, but still mainly following the class workout. Kind of didn't have long, right, between realizing, we're not going to have a team together, during the open.
Yeah.
To, okay, well, I'll go to regionals as an individual. There's not, the longest time span to get some training in.
Yeah.
And then that regionals came 7th.
Yeah, so you still went to the next year in 2016. You went as an individual to regionals. Yeah.
And came 7th at that regional, which was a top 5 to qualify regional, which definitely shocked me then, because I had not been, seriously training towards that for a long time, and I did not think I would be up there with the top 10 at a regional. I was very fresh to CrossFit and just really didn't have competition experience. And then was like, oh wow, okay, well if I'm, decently good at this, let's, proper knuckle down, get on a serious program, I'll train a whole bunch, do multiple hours per day. And the next year came 7th again. So massively up my training.
Was it the same women that were in front of you?
Pretty similar. There were a couple of spots
Obviously, Tia and Cara were still there,
yeah.
but then it was like...
but the last 1 or 2 sort of spots always shuffle. I just was so disappointed.
Yeah, that's got to be hard.
The 2 years, getting the same result, you just have a massively different response based on your expectations going in, right? Because going in with absolutely no expectations, really not that much fitness, and the main thing is just not that many hours of work that went in. You're like, oh, 7th, cool, that's awesome. And then you dedicate your life for the next year to, I'm going to get fitter and actually do this. And you come 7th again, it's like, am I no fitter? Like, I feel fitter.
You personally know the amount of work you put in over them 12 months, so you must think either one of two things, I'm shit, or I put so much work in and all these other girls did as well. And you're still beating everyone from 8th onwards.
Yeah.
You know?
I suppose that's I feel like at that point, like 2015, 2016, 2017 is when people were like taking it really seriously.
Yeah. I mean, personally for me, I had some very specific things I was upset with. Like the previous year, I had struggled with the ring muscle-ups. I'd always had trouble on the really long straps that they had at regionals because they also had them set really wide. That just were wider than your standard ring setup. And I had gone and worked on my ring muscle-ups heaps for that whole year, and I went back to regionals and I still had a problem on those straps with the ring muscle-ups. So there were a couple of things I was just like, geez. I really thought I had nailed that year of prep.
And there were still holes in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so then, okay, we came 7th again in 2017. What changed in 2017 to 2018?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot?
Yeah, no, just
Do you think that
Programming?
when you got onto the competition floor, you were maybe more prepared for competition?
I mean, a little bit. So I don't really feel like I needed to learn to compete in CrossFit because I've had so many years of high pressure competition as a gymnast. And to me, gymnastics competition is way higher pressure than CrossFit competition.
I mean, I feel like it's life and death with gymnastics.
It kind of is, and it's also just you get one chance to go up, you do your routine, you mess up, you messed up, you do poorly. In CrossFit, sure, there are some of the 1 rep max lifts, maybe, you have to make it or you don't.
Yeah.
But if it's, an AMRAP, it's a 15-minute AMRAP and you go out too hard in the first minute, okay, slow down, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like you can find ways around it. You can
It's
keep
so
going.
manageable and so recoverable, but there are very few CrossFit workouts that will really be as high stakes. So definitely, it's a different environment, but I almost had to learn to G myself up a bit more for CrossFit events because I was so used to being as calm as possible that I had to, work out how to get a bit excited before a CrossFit event because you're about to go out and, you need a little bit of extra adrenaline for a heavy lift or something like that. So it was almost the opposite in terms of, oh my gosh, big stage nerves was more
like amping yourself up.
Use the crowd and everything.
Yeah.
CrossFit crowds get so involved in the event.
Yeah.
I think programming did step up a bit. We definitely had a decent strength focus because that's always been, I guess, my weakness. Pardon the pun. So yeah, definitely.
Did you find that the programming between when you came 7th for the second time and when you qualified, the programming at regionals, was that the difference?
The actual workouts.
Or was it the work that you put in? And because obviously the workouts were different and the programming could sway more towards, hey, you actually won an event that had handstand walks in it, or you they didn't have any shining star workouts for you?
I feel like 2018 me could have qualified doing either year's events, the 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the events
You were
at
100%
regionals.
better.
I think it was the programming. I think I was just so over it. I've just been so determined.
You wanted it more.
This is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so 2018 rolls around, you win, what did you come, 3rd? 4th.
Yeah.
So that must have been the year, because that was the last
We've
official,
done 5. Yeah,
last official
that was
regionals.
Regional, yeah.
Yeah. That was, how did you feel about them taking away regionals?
Oh my gosh. No, not good. Not good.
There are not many people that
was
did.
the thing you train for, right?
Yeah.
'Cause regardless of whether or not you qualified for the games, everyone prepared for regionals. It was the event in CrossFit in Australia.
I think it was achievable. No, it wasn't achievable, but it was more achievable.
Absolutely.
For a lot more people.
So many people could aim to qualify for regionals, and at the same event you would have the people aiming to qualify for the games.
Yeah.
But everyone is involved in that process, and it makes it a much bigger community event because so many more people know someone at their gym that's either trying to qualify for regionals or is a regionals athlete, and for that to be a big thing is better for the sport.
Yeah.
Do you still think that now in 2021? You got like Touring Pro, and you got the other ones that you can qualify for, so you got more options.
Touring Pro will be the regionals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's trying to be regionals again, just run by an independent party.
Yeah, it's just a private event now.
Now you can qualify through different streams.
So, like, there are a few people I know that have flown to China and qualified at an event there.
Can't anymore.
Oh, you can't do that anymore?
You could a year ago.
Yeah.
But now if you're an Australian citizen, Touring Pro is your event.
Okay, so you have
Is there not another one in Australia?
No.
Is there no down under?
There's only one for us. There was.
Yeah.
It was a sanctional. It's not there
gone.
anymore. If you're in, say, the US and you qualify for your semi-final, you get to pick which one you go to, but you can't go to multiple or anything like that.
Yeah,
So it's not like when it was sanctionals and you could so I went over to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Started 2019.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. That was great.
Yeah, that's not a long way away at all.
Yeah.
Everywhere's a long way from Australia. Where was I meant to go?
I'm pretty sure Cape Town's like the furthest you can get from Australia. Though, right?
Is it?
Isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah. It's just
It's
on
a
the
big ocean.
It's not as bad as going to the States.
But yeah, how was that?
That was probably the most fun I have had competing. Maybe equal with the 2019 Touring Pro. That was a very, very fun event. But Fittest in Cape Town would have been the best run competition I have ever been to, including the CrossFit Games.
Were you the only Australian person there?
No, there were quite a few. So Colleen Menzies I think she's from Perth.
Yes, I know that
was
name.
there as well. And then some of the guys were there. So like James Newbury was over there competing with Kayla Kim as well. Simone Arthur was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we had quite a few people. And it was, good to have an Aussie contingent, but just the event was very professionally run, but also like had a family atmosphere sort of feel. Like the organisers would have a chat to the athletes like, oh, would you like the bus after this event to go back to the stadium, or would you like it to go back to the beach for the next event? And just change things based on
what you guys
athletes' needs and everything like that. They were so accommodating. Everything was very professional. All the judging was incredibly professional. And they had a really fun way of programming. So they would announce a bit about every event. You'd think you'd know what the event was. And then just before it was
like
going to
that
happen...
400 meter run? They announced a 400 meter run?
400 meter sprint.
400 meter sprint.
400 meter sprint.
So you think, all right.
Yeah, and it turns out to be, okay, no, the whole competition, for context, was at an athletics track with a rig set up in the middle. So you think, okay, 400 metres around the athletics track for time. No, they bus everyone off-site to one of the national parks, and they say, okay, you're going in these heats, and we're just going to tell you to go. You're going to run up this trail. Somewhere along the trail there is a sandbag. Pick it up, carry it till someone tells you to put it down, and then keep running to the finish.
So it was very unknown.
Yeah,
I love that
it
shit.
was great.
I love it.
That's cool.
It's like that, but just every event had something, and it was just so much fun.
Well, that's good. So was that where you qualified, or?
Well, complicated. I could have, but no. So that was the year where you had a few different ways you could qualify. You could qualify by being in the top, I think, 40?
From the Open?
20 in the Open, but all the national champions taken out. So it ended up being around 40 or something was the mark through the Open. You could win a sanctional, or you could, I think that's it, national champion through the Open, top 20 after national champions through the Open or winning a sanctional. So in January 2019 is when Fittest in Cape Town was, and I came 4th. And then there was the Open in Feb-March. And during the Open, the 3 people above me qualified.
So that would technically take them out.
So then that would take them out, and I would have qualified through Fittest in Cape Town. But later on, someone also went team, so I ended up qualifying through the Open.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're moving up the thing,
Cape Town, right? And then later on, I did Down Under, and I could have qualified from Down Under, but I already had a spot through the Open.
So it didn't matter.
Lindsay Vaughan got my spot through Down Under, and Michelle Moran got my spot from Cape Town. It was messed up that year. Like, no one understands the qualification process from that year.
2019, then it didn't end up happening.
It did. 2019 happened.
2020 did.
2020 was the one that didn't happen.
So 2019 happened, and that was the first one with cups.
Oh, okay, yeah. And how did you feel about that?
I know some people are pretty outspoken on this, and they're saying, you know, if you can't handle cuts, you know, you're not going there as an athlete to compete. And I don't necessarily have a problem with cuts. I don't think the aggressive style of cuts that they did that year worked. And I can get into why from like a statistical perspective. And I probably will be on about that for way too long.
60 minutes on statistics.
Yeah, pretty much. But for me, I would have appreciated notice of the cuts, because I had family spend a lot of money.
Did you guys not know you were going to get cut?
I did not know we were getting cuts.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, so I had family spend a lot of money to fly over there, to stay with me, coming to watch me compete, right? Like, they are not CrossFit fanatics.
Yeah.
When did you get cut?
I got cut in the cut from 30 to 20, which was after
the run?
5 events after Mary.
So that was after the run?
After the run,
and then Mary. Oh, so you got a lot of the way through.
So I got 5 out of, I think, 11. So I got a reasonable way through the competition.
So that was the one with the running, rope climb, squat snatch. And then they cut half the field, but then there was still 100 people in the field. And then they did the row, dumbbell, push, press, handstand walk. And then they cut it again. And then they really cut it to the real CrossFit Games, I guess.
Cut it to 50, and then went 40, 30, 20, 10. But my problem with it is, okay, so you're cutting every single event. You're not actually giving people a chance to make a significant move in that space of time, right? So, okay, you cut after 1 event to 75, after 2 events to 50, after 3 events to 40, after 4 events to 30. Okay, if you're in 30th going into event 5, there is no way you're going to make up enough points in 1 event to get inside the top 20, right? You might as well have just cut those extra people already.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm in agreement. I think you should have known that there was going to be a cut, because I know that probably a lot of people would have been like, oh, well, you know, I was going to go for the experience, but now I'm only going to I'll probably only get through 1 workout. Is it worth going?
Yeah.
You know?
I think that year was
paying all that money.
That year was poorly managed, and I think it was probably inappropriate cuts, but
they didn't know how to handle. Like, they just had an announcement that they're going to do national champion. Yeah. And I don't think they fully thought.
Well, yeah, I think they take on the criticism that they get, but they still try and rectify that. No, it was the right thing, but then next year they do it way better. But they knew that they did it poorly, and they just try to acknowledge it by doing it better next time, but they don't say that they did anything wrong.
They didn't admit wrongdoing.
I mean, they did come out and say fairly soon afterwards that they would have at least 2 events before doing the first cut the next time.
Well,
stuff like that.
I think that's
imagine going all the way there and you're getting cut after 15 minutes.
Well, my thing is it's like, also as CrossFit, you have a range of things that you have an opportunity to be good at.
You could come last in a workout and still come top 10 at least.
And you don't get that opportunity.
Overall, I mean.
So we touched a barbell once before top 20.
Yeah, see, that's, to me, that doesn't seem, that did, well, I mean, they don't do it anymore, which is great, but that seems unreasonable to me, because the whole point is to be judged over a vast range of things, and if you're just average at one, you get cut before you even have an opportunity to be able to display something that you might be better at.
Well,
and we ran 2 or 3 times.
So much running.
Yeah. Well, running is the most, what did I say, primitive form of transportation.
Yeah. That's accurate.
I mean, if you look at the decathlon in the Olympic Games, it's all running. Running in this, running in that, running and jumping, running and throwing. So I think running is a very big part of fitness, even though there's sexy ski machines and bikes and stuff now. But running is like your body only. Yeah. Just like swimming, but you can't have 5 swimming events.
Yeah.
Why not? If you can have 5 running events.
Well, because
Courtney's like, can we have 5 swimming events? That'd be great.
5 swimming events and 5 running events.
No, but they wouldn't do that because too many people can't swim. But everyone can run to some degree.
I understand the perspective of, you know, running 5K is totally different to having a 400-meter sprint. But swimming 5K is also totally different to having a a 50-meter sprint or something like that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I think everyone has the ability to run no matter where you live, whereas not everyone has the ability to swim in the ocean.
Yeah, it's true. That's what I mean. Like, it's like some people can die if they can't swim, but everybody can put one foot in front of the other and run, depending on the heat conditions.
And then you went one more time, or was that your last time?
No, that was the Cuts was the last one, 2019, and then I came back and I was pretty pooped. I've been training a lot for a very long time. So the Games was in August, and I think I always have at least 2 weeks off, somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks to kind of reset post Games. Would have taken me into September, and then by November we had Tour and Pro and weightlifting nationals. Yep. Within about a week of each other. Yeah. It was also the Open.
Oh, that was the year they changed it.
That was the late Open, ready for the next year. So I had all those things at the same time, and I remember, so week 5 of the Open was the opener workout for Friday Night Lights at Torian. Yep. And the week before that was weightlifting nationals, I think, or week before. And I just got so sick, like just before weightlifting nationals. I remember doing like the max out day the weekend before that went really well, hit PBs.
It's good.
Everything's happy, peaking well for nationals. Boom, next day, get sick. So I show up at nationals, sick, lift terribly, have to like bring everything back, and then I come back up here and heading into Torian and the last week of the Open, I'm just still so sick.
Did you start COVID?
I was about to say, you couldn't go to nationals sick now. Yeah. That'd never happen.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I think that was a bit too early for
COVID.
COVID patient 0.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just my body was like, what
no.
are you doing? I need a break.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, it's cool. Let's get through these comps, and then I'll have, you know, until after Christmas off to reset and everything.
And do the Open again.
I came back after Christmas and I was still pooped. I was just like, I'm not ready to train.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought it would be a few weeks, and it turned into about 18 months of just
going through the motions.
Special, go do the class workout, just kind of chill, live
Get your
life,
head back in the game.
Start some sports outside of CrossFit, pay attention to things that aren't work and training.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been 18 months-ish of that, and then I think in quarterfinals this year was when I was finally like,
I'm ready.
Time to switch my brain back into gear and actually, you know, keep my butt into gear and get going.
Getting through the quarterfinals and just getting into Torian.
Yeah.
And how did you?
I was a backfill invite. I was someone went team. Thank you.
Yay.
Were you actually the last, or?
No, a few people went team, so I think there were maybe 2 people after me, but I definitely was one of the people waiting for the whole team quarterfinal process to happen, and then people to officially decide.
What a stressful wait, hey.
Yeah. I mean, you just, like, I had kind of only just recently decided I was going to pick up training again anyway, so I wasn't expecting to be.
And you guys were going to go team
but not in the qualifying section of Torian Pro.
What do you mean?
So we were aiming to compete as a team and then didn't quite qualify from quarterfinals to the division of Torian Pro
that would get you to the games. That's what you missed out just.
Yeah, so I ended up making Torian Pro as an individual just.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the team competed in the team division, but not the
we
pro
weren't
teams.
on the pro teams, yeah. And you went to Torian, and how was your experience at this Torian versus 2019 or whenever it was, the last one?
It was good.
Yeah.
It's still a wonderful event, and it really does draw probably the biggest crowd of any CrossFit event in Australia at the moment. It's not quite the event regionals was in terms of...
It had pyrotechnics.
It did.
There was flames.
That was pretty cool.
Oh my God.
I mean, that was me at the time, and now I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Could you feel that on the floor?
You could. It
Like,
was
it's
very
fucking
warm.
hot.
No, you could feel it standing near it on the
It's
other
crazy.
side.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, every time I was watching, I'm like, there's this guy pressing the button to make the flames go up, and he's like, that's $100. That's $1,000 every time he pushes that button. Just gas.
How
Yeah.
much self-control would it take if you had that button to not just
Hit it all the time. Yeah. Or just like hold it
I wonder if
down.
they have a regulation for how often they compress it so as to not heat the venue up too much.
Probably, surely. You'd want to hope so. And how did you feel that you went at Torian 2021? Was it 2021? Was it this year?
Yeah, I guess it was.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember.
I know, I feel
What
like it was
century is it again?
I feel like that was a lifetime ago.
I mean, good,
Yeah.
considering I hadn't prepared much.
Yeah.
I remember there was, V1 handstand walking event. I was like, guess I'm going all in on this.
Nailed
Yay!
Was quite surprised because I don't think I'd done a handstand walk in training for like the 6 months prior to that. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't very impressed with your handstand one because I knew you were going to do well anyway. I was impressed with your lifting, and you did really well
I
because
was
you
very
hit
impressed
like
with my
95 or
lifting.
97 kilos.
I think I hit 97.
It was 97 and then it was 102, wasn't it?
I think it was 100, then 102.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing pretty small jumps.
That was pretty impressive to me, and like
Mate, you crushed it.
I knew you'd do good at the
Yeah.
handstand walk, whether you practice them or not.
I mean, like
lately.
the handstand walk one, what I was going to say is I just went all in on that one, and I didn't have the training volume behind me to be able to recover from that. Like, I had not done handstand walks in ages. I just do not train them unless it comes up occasionally in a class workout. And then there was like double unders and assault bike after that, and I just absolutely fell to pieces. Like, just could not use my arms properly for the rest of the competition. I was just like, hey, it's worth it. You're not trying to qualify for the games.
Yeah.
Have some fun for one event and then
See what
just try to
happens.
cruise through the rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, very, very happy with that lifting. Always definitely lift better in a competition with a crowd.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
Yeah, that's just
Does make a
easier
difference.
environment.
Yeah.
Makes it far lighter.
Question: how do you feel going from that environment at CrossFit, where it's like everybody's there and it's like whoa, to then lifting on a platform where no one says a word
Yeah.
at nationals?
Yeah, the silence.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer the crowd.
Oh my God, me too.
It's just so much easier to overthink when there's nothing to fill the silence.
Yep.
You gotta really have like your one cue that you're focusing on or something to kind of stay on track, because otherwise it's just panic moment.
Yeah.
How do I lift again?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely get more nervous lifting on a platform, but I do still get like the adrenaline boost of being a bit
At a
nervous
comp-
on a platform.
Yeah.
When lifting, so you can still kind of use that.
Yeah.
My
I
lift
find
is
it
still
so.
clunky, though.
I find it so interesting, like at the CrossFit Games and other events where it's like you've got 20 seconds to hit your lift, and they fail it, and then they just like hands back on the bar, hit it, perfect.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's the difference between like they're the best CrossFitters in the world, but they're still not anywhere near the best Olympic weightlifters in the world.
And it's like, I think given how many opportunities, if you had done a snatch or a clean and jerk and you say you missed it on the platform, if you're like, just give me one more second and I could do it, you could do it again. And you know you could, and it's like, but that was my third attempt and I can't do anything about it.
That works.
So I feel like I feel like that pressure that you feel when you're in that situation, when you go out to CrossFit, you're like, I can do this. You're like, even if I miss it twice, I know I've got it on the third one.
How many times?
Yeah. I always find that interesting because some people like the silence, some people like the calmness of it. I'm not that person either. I like the hype and the vibe, definitely.
I also just get really weirded out by warming up differently.
As in,
when I'm doing a lifting comp and you're like warming up on a schedule rather than like, I feel good now, I'll put 5 kilos on the bar and do a lift and then see where I go from there. It's like,
that stressed me out when I went there, and Miles was like, all right, Greg, you can tell Courtney when to warm up and stuff, and I had my piece of paper and he was like, oh, but watch out for this lady, this lady, this lady, and this lady, because they're going to skip their jumps, and so she's going to be on in 15 minutes, not 25 minutes. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? like, what do you want me to do? Just like get ready to go and lift whenever you want. Like, he's like, no, I want her to hit 55.
She needs to be here at this time, at this lift. It's like so official.
Definitely a process to it.
Yeah, it's funny whenever you get people that are learning, you're like, okay, so we've got 17 lifts and we'll have like, you know, we might have 19 minutes because this person's following that, and they just look at you and they're like, what? And I'm like, don't worry about it.
Like, when I tell you to lift whatever I have currently put on the bar.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things, though, is other people loading your bars.
Getting everything ready, yeah. Well, out of all your experiences at the games, what was your favourite? What year was your favourite?
I mean, 2015 was fun for a different reason.
Yeah.
And 2018 was definitely more enjoyable than 2019.
Yeah.
Was that the crit race?
Crit was fun. Crit was really good. I was definitely not aggressive enough. I feel like the 2018 games just taught me to be like more confident and aggressive just in general.
Yeah, I personally don't really like them big all-in starts. It's like the girls and the guys got the same time. There's 45 people out there, and I'm just like, it just looks like whoever gets out to the front with their elbows,
the guys
then they're better.
Turned out a bit more like a proper bike race, and the girls was just like this one big clump that stayed together the whole time. And there were people who I know are not amazing bike riders based on, we did a time trial the day before, who happened to be swept along with that mob, and then just do a sprint to the finish the last half lap or so. So I really would have liked that to be a bit more strung out, kind of like the men's was, but I think that's comes with the territory of doing a new exercise that people haven't
done before.
We'll go to your worst experience in a second, but I just thought, with the games, like, I was not expecting things like the crit race because I didn't know they were even that popular. But like,
I had to go buy different pedals for my road bike when they announced that, and like get some clip-in shoes and start practicing.
Yeah, right.
I still use them.
Different?
It's good. You can go faster. You just have to make sure you're all good with how to clip in and get going fast, because you don't want to be left behind at the start.
Yeah.
And then how to stop and get your foot out and not fall on your face.
So they've done like the crit race. They've done like paddle boarding and stuff.
Yep. That's another thing I got so much better at after it was at the games. Like, I did it at the games and I was bad at it.
Yeah.
And then I went and learned how to do it, and I didn't get a chance to redo it.
You're an Aussie. You're supposed to be really good at that.
I know.
I just kind of like look at other sports and I'm like trying to think where they could go, and I'm surprised they haven't gone down this route yet of kettlebell sport. Have you seen like the Russians? It's so big in Eastern Europe.
It's hectic.
I've heard
It's
of
like
it.
10-minute kettlebell tests, and it's like they do it for like police training. It's like, how many snatches can you do unbroken?
Yeah.
10 minutes of max. And I could just, it's a sport in itself, and we'd love kettlebells as CrossFitters.
Why haven't they? But that's
I'm
what I said
surprised
about
they
the
haven't
Open.
done that yet.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like, I would like to see a kettlebell in the Open, but there are so many variables that you probably can't police in the Open, but you could probably do it at the games.
Yeah, I think they would. That'd always make the standard, and that'd be easier to do that at the games than people in their gym being judged by it.
Rando.
Do you think that the Diane thing that just happened, the deadlift and freestanding handstand push-ups, in 3 years' time, it'll be strict handstand push-ups?
Strict freestanding?
Maybe, maybe not. I mean,
It looks so messy doing the kipping ones.
I think they put the lines too close together.
Nah.
No?
It's just like, it was a perfect step, but like, even in the level 1 CrossFit training guide, they talk about handstand push-ups, and they talk about like, these are what we do, but in gymnastics world, they do them in the middle of the room. And they don't use their hips, they just use their shoulders. And so I feel like we're not even at the Olympic gymnast level yet. Obviously, we're CrossFitters.
But you're not at the Olympic weightlifter level of
No, but we're doing them movements.
Yeah.
We're doing strict muscle-ups. Why aren't we doing strict freestanding handstand push-ups? And I feel like we don't put a lot of time into balance as we would endurance and strength.
We do strict handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
They also do parallel
there shouldn't be much difference to a freestanding one. People just don't want to put in the dedication and the time. But I think that that's the way that event could go.
I would rather see them go more broad than more specific on those things. So, you know, they did ring handstand push-ups, and then everyone's like, oh, maybe next year they'll come back and there'll be a muscle up into the handstand push-up for everyone and things like that, and they just move away from it.
Yeah.
But I would love to see them do more of the tests that are already a known test in another sport, because they keep shying away from doing like a 5K right?
Or an actual triathlon or something.
Like a proper Olympic distance triathlon, because they don't want to be compared to all of the athletes
that do that,
train for that, and all of the average Joes who train for that and are going to have a better time than
I thought they would have gone with
I would have thought so too, but they don't.
But
they keep not doing it, and I would love to see it, because I think you can have, you know, a broad test that includes all of those things, but you have like a 1RM deadlift in there next to your Olympic distance triathlon, so that people, you know, who are amazing at that one need to also be amazing at that one.
That's a true indication of, well, that's what I always thought. I'm like, don't you want something that's already quantifiable, something that you can, like, you know, that's been tested and tried, and you have an expectation on it, or like there's a certain level that, you know, we're asking for, as opposed to being like, oh, we'll try freestanding handstand push-ups and just see what happens, you know?
Well, I guess they can compare the snatch and the clean and jerk and the deadlift and all that stuff to powerlifters and weightlifters.
Yeah.
But we're you know, we've done a marathon row, but even the rowers
would never do that.
The pros were like, we don't do this. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Why would we sit on a rower for 3 hours?
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like you're right. I would like to see some more like official, like, because if you're gonna, in my head, I think if we're gonna claim to be the fittest on earth, okay, we'll pick all. It's like a giant decathlon, right?
Like, have 50 different events if you really want, and just publish them. See if anyone can beat, you know, people's scores. I don't think having a workout be known ahead of time really diminishes at all how good a test it is, right? Like, you can't suddenly do a 2.5 minute Fran just because you know what Fran is, right? Like, it doesn't magically make you able to do that workout any better than someone else because you know it and you're able to prepare for it, right? You still need the fitness.
You still need to have that skill level and ability to perform. Yeah. I mean,
well, there's 15 events, so why couldn't they just have a 1 rep max snatch or clean and jerk, or both, event 1, a 5 kilometer run, or
is that more valid than a 1 rep max overhead squat or a deadlift or a thruster,
anything, but like
a
something to compare to a different sport.
Yeah.
So like an overhead squat, no one's really doing that other than CrossFitters, but then a triathlon event 2, and then something gymnastic-y, like, I don't know.
See, the problem is that no actual proper gymnastics test CrossFitters would be able to do.
No,
like,
none. They can't do bean, they
That's
can't do vault,
like,
they can't do...
That's why I feel like there's so much more wiggle room in the gymnastics world.
Although there is a lot of gymnastics strength testing that is pretty well documented. So that, particularly in the US, all of the testing that they do of the young kids as they're progressing through level.
For like a level 10 or something.
They have a very standardized test with like benchmarks of
you have to be able to do
conditioning for gymnastics, not even gymnastics.
Can you give us an example?
Like a max handstand hold?
Yeah, max handstand hold is a good one. Like how many?
I suppose they've done that.
What they would call leg lifts can you do? So it's effectively like a strict toes to bar, but with your back against the wall, holding onto a bar, legs to the bar, legs down. Like press to handstands.
Yeah.
So like straddle press up to handstand, back down to a straddle. How many in a row can you do? stuff like that. It'd have like an L-sit hold. You know, all those things that
They've done the L-sit hold before.
They have, yeah.
And they've done the max handstand hold.
Have they done the max handstand
At
hold?
the games online portion.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like
You got to be in
walk
the
around your square.
the square.
Yeah, it's
if
in the
you
square.
like.
It's like it should be like no, your hands can't move.
It's basically a handstand walk for max time.
Yeah.
Yeah, back and forward.
Like that's how I learnt to handstand walk when I was like to handstand hold when I was like 7. They'd give you a hula hoop and they'd say stay in the hula hoop, but eventually when you're good enough we'll take the hula hoop away and you just have to stay still.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we start with this much room
Like
and then
wheels.
yeah, and then we bring you in.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd like to know more tests in
Yeah.
the gymnastics realm.
I think well, in my head I just think if we're going to claim to be the fittest, well then you've got to pick different sports and take from them.
Not shy away from the comparison.
Yeah, because I think that's the whole point, right? You know, and like that's not to say that we can't have CrossFit workouts. Of course, we're still CrossFit, so you still have your AMRAPs, you still have your whatever it is, but
there's 15 events typically.
That's what I mean.
So there's so much space to do that, but I feel like out of them 15 events, 12 of them were just CrossFit workouts,
Yeah.
and then the others were like paddle, swim, you know, like your endurance-y ones and
I
stuff.
guess I don't like how predictable the non-CrossFit ones
Yes,
tend to be.
I was
Like,
so disappointed.
they're always going to have a swim and either a paddle board or a kayak or some kind of paddle implement.
yeah.
And you know they'll always have a longish run, and
Hey,
yeah, it's could be a little more varied. I'd really like to see a games that genuinely throws some new things out there that people are not prepared for. Like I absolutely love watching the whole field be totally unprepared to climb a pegboard because that is not the hardest thing to do. I do understand that they'd had a very
On the last day,
arm-intensive whole week of games events leading up to it, but being familiar with how hard it is to climb a pegboard, all of those athletes now would be capable of doing a pegboard climb after that week of games competition.
yeah.
Right? And to me, that's just like basic athleticism. I think people spend too much time just in the gym doing exercises they know in the gym.
Yeah.
And need to kind of broaden their horizons and just do things that help them move more athletically in general.
Yeah.
My
agree.
favourite CrossFit events workout was the wheelbarrow across the stadium,
That was
moving
very
weight.
funny.
And they had to come out of the stadium and throw it over and put the thing in. And,
Yeah.
and if it tipped, it's like, well, we'll fucking
Pick
clean
them
it
back up. Let's go.
I love that. To me, that's what CrossFit
Was
is.
that the one where they had to throw it up
Yeah.
and over? Yeah, I
And they'd
remember
like
that.
stack
Yeah.
the sandbags so they could stand on it, and the
And to
shorter
have-
people were just like, ugh.
Yeah, how do I get it over? I don't know what to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. That is the sort of event I love to see at the games because no one's prepared for that exactly.
It's an application of your fitness.
Yeah,
And-
it's not traditional. Yeah.
And it just so beautifully fits the definition of just doing work, as much work as possible in a short a time frame as possible.
Yeah. That's very good. Well, it's 2:15.
Yes, I gotta go.
Courtney has to go back to
I
work.
have a day job. Can you believe it? A desk job even.
How dare you? Well, thanks for being on our podcast.
You're
It's
very
been
welcome.
very good debriefing all this stuff with you. This guy's trying to eat my can right now. You can't have it, mate. Yeah. No, you'll eat it in like the. We gave him a chicken neck. Oh my god.
Yeah, I go.
This guy swallowed it whole. I'm not even kidding you. It was just like, oh, and we were just like, where the hell did it go?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, well, I can never give you one again because I'm going to have to watch you every
Mac,
single
that
time.
has to come out of your bum, you know
Yeah.
that? So that's going to hurt,
That's
all
not
right?
going to feel good, bro. But, yeah, he doesn't have a stop button when it comes to eating, so he can't be trusted. No.
Well, good. Let's leave it there then, hey? And
Yeah.
we'll reconvene next week.
Yeah, thanks, Court.
Thank you, Court.
Bye.